Hello and welcome to Smash Writing. Today we're going to be talking about the movie that just dropped called Damsel. It's on Netflix, starring Millie Bobby Brown. I went into this movie having decent hopes to it. Trailer looked pretty good. I normally really like Millie Bobby Brown movies and shows, which is what drew me to this in the first place. Even though this isn't normally my kind of movies. And for blood and guts and gore and all that fun stuff. But, who knows? Maybe it turned out pretty well. Let's dive in and check it out, shall we? This movie starts with a bit of narration telling us that there are many, many tales of chivalrous knights in shining armor who save the damsel in distress. This will not be one of these movies. We meet Millie's character Elodie, her sister Florea. These names will kill me. Luckily, I think those are the only 2 or 3 names I remember. But we meet them. They're in their own kingdom. It's deep frost. The lands are barren. Their little kingdom is struggling big time. But they're still fighting through, they're pulling through to try to do everything they can for their people. When they get back to their kingdom, their castle and everything, the village, whatever you want to call it, they are, there's somebody already there. And Elodie walks in on the meeting with the Lord and her father, talking to the woman named the Red Priestess. She'd come with a proposal from a nearby kingdom for Elodie, and they talk about it. She's not too happy about it, but he puts it like, we really need this. This village is not going to survive. You need to do this for the people. So she reluctantly agrees and goes along with this. And they travel. We meet the stepmom too. She's very much living up to the evil stepmom trope going on there. So, off we go to the kingdom called Aoria, I believe it's called. This movie is terrible with me and the name things. I believe it is the kingdom of Aoria. And I jumped a little bit ahead here. Before all of this happens, we see a king leading his men into this dungeon area. They get quickly wiped out by a dragon, and leaving just a king who kneels before the dragon. And then we jump off to everything else. So, jumping back ahead, we get the family showing up to the kingdom. They get shown around a little bit, and they let her go up to her room, and leave her in a room alone to settle in and get some privacy and get acquainted to the area by herself. And she spots this other young woman from across the way on her balcony. When she goes to sleep, and we jump to the next day, where she's meeting the queen. And the queen's asking her questions like, what is your biggest strength? And she believes her biggest strength is her truth. She always tells the truth no matter how hard. And the queen kind of has a little snicker at that, but carries on. She gets to go meet Henry, the prince that she'll be marrying soon. And those two go off to talk a little bit and get to know each other. And she makes it known pretty much that she's not really on board for this, and she's only doing this to save her people. That kind of disheartens them a little bit, but they go off and they start riding horses to evade his guards, and they kind of get to know each other better, and they do get along. Meanwhile, back at the castle, the dad had made a good deal with the queen for the bride price, and the stepmom's trying to figure out, how much did you get? She's very greedy kind of deal, but he is shaken by whatever happened and whatever transpired in the room. He's not happy about it, but he's taking the deal anyway. And the stepmother then goes and has a conversation with the queen, and the queen makes it known like, we're only in it for her. We don't really care about you guys at all. And even slips up and calls her Alicia instead of Elodie. And it is whatever, doesn't matter to her. And the stepmother gets a bad feeling of this, and she actually goes to Elodie and tries to warn her off, like, don't do this. Your dad's not even talking to me about it. There's something really bad about this. I don't trust him. But no one really likes her, so it's just going over their heads and they're not listening. The next day we have the wedding. And the wedding goes great. And they take a horse carriage out of there and up to the mountain for one last ceremony. And they arrive, the Red Priest is there, and a bunch of other people are there to christen her royal blood. And she tells the tale of the faithful king who had to sacrifice 3 daughters to appease the beast so that they could all live in harmony because the beast attacked them unprovoked. And she cuts her hand, she cuts his hand, and they hold hands, the royal blood situation kind of deal. And then they chuck her into a hole, which leads to the dragon lair. And she doesn't come quite face to face with it, but there's a back and forth between the two because the dragon will talk in this movie. And the dragon is very cat and mouse about this, like, oh, what's your name? And very much this is a game to the dragon. The dragon is going to kill Elodie the first chance it gets. And she just manages to get away from the first fire breath, and she stumbles upon a body, and it's the young woman from the balcony, and I have to give it to them for that. I thought that was going to be endgame relationship kind of deal, like she would be the White Knight saving her at the end. So to have them kill her, it's like, oh, good job. Good job on that. But again, she just barely makes it to safety, but she does burn her leg. Some real nasty flashbacks for that. Thank you. But great job on the makeup team for that. As burns, they were fantastic. But she gets away, and she wills herself to get up and go deeper into the cave. And she finds all these magic glow-up leeches that she uses for light whenever she loses her fire. And she does find this crystals area with water dripping down, and that's when the dragon intercepts her again, and she just barely makes it to this little hidden cave area. And she finds a wall with all of these names etched in from all of the women they've done this to. Are you having a good time? And this is also a place where she rests for a little bit, try to get herself back. And she kind of like hallucinates and dreams of all the women that have been forced into this position and have suffered the same fate that she's currently suffering, and wondering if any of them made it out alive. And when she comes back to, the leeches are going to town on her leg. And she panics until she realizes that they've healed her leg. And she uses another one to heal her arms, and it gets her back up, and she's starting to believe in herself again. And she finds a map etched into the wall, and is able to plot out where the escape route is. And she gets there, and it's this giant crystal rock wall. Gorgeous details on the rock wall. And she's just about to make it up, and she makes it to the cave entrance, but she is facing, she comes out on like a mountain face with nowhere to go. And then the dragon, she spots some people down below. She tries to call for help, and the dragon backs her off. But then they both realize that those people were actually coming to the mountain to try to save her. And it's her father and these group of guys he's hired, 3 of them. They make it into the cave and are searching for her, and the dragon's gone off toward them. So she gives chase after that, trying to go find out what's going on. And she stumbles upon 3 burnt eggs and dead baby dragons. And she pieces together what really happened at the beginning of this movie. That the king and his men killed the dragon's babies. And that's why its 3 daughters are needed. And it's always in 3s to make up for what the king has cost the dragon. The dad and the men get quickly swarmed. One of them runs, the other 2 go down quickly. And the dragon has... this is where the dad confesses to what he did. He willingly sold her to them and regretted it immediately and is trying to save her. But when the dragon tells him to call her name and to come out, he refuses, and the dragon takes him down. And the third guy who'd run off made some noise, so the dragon, believing it was her, went after her. And Elodie uses the rope that the men came in to climb up and escape the cave. But the dragon is pissed and starts burning the mountainside, and it gets the attention of everyone back in the kingdom. So the queen kidnaps her little sister and does the ritual real quick and chucks the sister into the hole. And the stepmother runs into Elodie, who thinks that she's in the clear, but when she finds out about her sister, she runs up there and dives back in there. And she's racing along, she's setting it up, she's got some plans going, and she distracts the dragon away from her sister, but her sister's hurt her leg and she can't move. So the distraction doesn't work out, and the dragon is coming back. So she does try to explain to the dragon that they're not royalty. The citizens have been fooling the dragon. And the dragon ain't listening right away, and there's a great fight between the two of them. They're each damaging the other. And it comes down to her about, she's just about able to kill the dragon whenever she tricks the dragon to burn itself. But she can't do it. So she goes to get the leeches, and she heals the dragon, and she explains to the dragon that this is what's happening. They're mixing their blood with the women's who have been thrown down here and fooling the dragon. And they go back to the kingdom, and there's another wedding going on. It will be the third one for Henry, so it'll be clear for another century before they have to do the ritual again. And Elodie shows up, and she warns the bride to run, and anyone else who wants to run, it's mostly the servants. And the dragon comes down and goes scorched earth on the kingdom. It is wonderful to watch. And the finale sees Elodie, her sister, her stepmother, taking the boat back home with the dragon following alongside them. And that is Damsel. Let's start first pro. I gotta talk about the sets and the CGI, all of which were beautiful and on point. The crystals and the glowing bits of where the leeches are illuminating the room. I thought all of that looked really gorgeous, really great work done. The crystals that she was climbing looked spectacular. It was a really good movie to look at all the way through. I loved the dragon. The attention on the detail, looking like a dog kind of deal, with the gold, the bits of hair kind of deal. He was spectacular to look at. Even when you don't see him dead on, see her dead on. She is a gorgeous dragon. They did a wonderful job bringing that dragon to life. And I even thought that giving the dragon a voice would get annoying after a while, but this one really didn't. They got a perfect person to play the voice of the dragon. You are having the time of your life right now. The cast had excellent chemistry together. Millie Bobby Brown really killed it. Really starting to show a lot of depth and range with her characters, especially when it comes to action sequences. I really love how Elodie is presented here. They showed her right away being a hard worker. She's willing to bust her ass in the field. She's willing to make sacrifices for her kingdom. Really headstrong in what she'll do. And she never comes across as too overpowered. She's taking damage left and right, and she's selling the damage perfectly. And everything that she's doing, she's using what is at hand. She's not pulling out anything crazy. She's using bits of her dress to clot wounds, or like little metal pieces to help used to help climb up and scale things. An all-around fun character to watch, especially developed throughout the movie. I will say one thing that really bothered me was this is a talking dragon that has a known lore in the universe. She should have a name. It bothers me a little bit that this dragon does not have a name. And I really liked the father in this movie. I thought I had him. They did a really good job there are tropes in this movie that you could pick out from the start. But by the end of it, they all get pulled away. They don't follow the regular trope line. Like the dad knowingly selling Elodie to the town to sacrifice, but instantly regretting it and making good on it to try to help her. And then, even when he's staring the dragon down, he is screaming at Elodie to not come out. The stepmom, she really showed signs of being the greedy, evil stepmom, but she's trying to warn Elodie off of this. She's fighting through a stab wound to go try to save the little sister. And, like I said, they broke the tropes, and I really enjoyed seeing that, and they didn't just follow the trope line. And they easily could have. And it's well written and well acted. I wrote a grade down. I'm already kind of changing it. I'm going to give this an A+. Check this out whenever you get a chance. It's definitely worth the watch. And with that, have a good day.